Right, let's have another go at a tutorial. I'm doing these tutorials for young Lewis at work before we all die from the killer virus. Sorry, it's bad taste. Right, so I drew this lug earlier, made that polyline, and I know you're keen to do some 3Ding and then how to look at it in model space. So I'm going to click on the isometric view, so it'll look like that, and I'm going to do a right button and I'm going to toggle into 3D mode. So when I click on it, I'll get a set of 3D axes. In 2D mode you'll only get the 2D XY axes, and it's also drawn on the XY plane. You can get into a lot of trouble with these things flying around all over the place, but yeah, you've got to fall into them traps, unfortunately. Right, so because that's a polyline, I can double click on it to get the properties, and I can come down to 3D and I can give it a thickness of 20 millimeters. Okay, on that, so that extruded that up vertically in the positive sense, 20 mil. So I'm going to collect the two circles, right button, properties, where's it gone, properties, and 3D. I'm going to make this more than 20 now because I'm going to subtract these out, so I'm going to call this 50. So if I was to shade that, at the moment it's just ordinary line mode, but if I was to shade it with a Gourard flat shade, you'll see that it looks like two pins sticking up. So hit the thing and it'll go back to wire mode, which is the way I like. Just zoomed in by clicking the third center button. Modify 3D objects, 3D boolean, 3D subtraction. Now it says select the first object, the minuend, which is the main body, and then select the next operand by clicking or dragging. That's a useful unfriendly command term, isn't it? But I believe now we just click on the bits that we want to subtract. So I've got to do that again, just like that. So if we flat shade that again, we've got ourselves a nice little 3D rendered lug. And as you know, all CAD men and architects will charge you £1,000 for something daft like that. Right, so now I'm going to look at it via the world view. I'm going to create a viewport with the world view like that, call it top. Okay, and then I'm going to do an ISO. Now I'll do I'll do a front view. It's not a very exciting view, is it? But and then create a view of that, call it front. Okay, let's do an ISO, and we create a viewport of that, call it ISO. Okay, right, now I'm going to go into the A3 paper space. This time I'm going to insert viewport and I'm going to drag on top. Okay, close. Right, we've got a pretty awful looking viewport border here, and it expands when I move it around. So double click it, viewport, take the visible box off, and let's set it to a specific scale so it doesn't jump around on us. 1:1 in this case. No, can't go 1:1. Let it halve that. 1:2. Yeah, that'll be, no, let's go 1:3. I'm going to type 1:3 in there, so it's a third of the size. Basically, I know what it's going to print it out on A3 because I'm using this template now. So, right, so I can expand that viewport. If you don't keep that fairly minimal, you can get some weird and wonderful overlapping problems. Right, so now let's bring in another viewport down here. Front, go to, close, double click it. Let's get that viewport set up, fixed, 1:3, and no visible box. Okay, right, now this is where the secchies come in real good as well. So click it, you press D, and I can click on that point. Oh no, got to be careful that you do pick on the right things. And then I can move that up to that Q point there. In fact, I can't. So the only way to get around this is to use construction lines. So I'm using a vertical construction line. We'll bang it off that quadrant there. Will it have it? Ah, interesting. No. So basically I'll draw vertical. You might not be able to see this too well on the video, but these are some horizontal construction lines I'm putting in. Now this time I should be able to D, Q, no, C, no, V, strange. I can snap onto that quadrant point anyway. And I put it onto my intersections of my construction lines. So I know then that point there, V. So basically I've got a plan above the front, third angle of projection, and they're perfectly in line now, as you would expect. I'll just move them both together. Edit, clear all the constructions. Right, and I'll put the ISO drawing on here as well. Insert viewport. ISO, go to, close. Yeah. And I think I'll viewport this. I think I'll fix it at 1 to 3 again. Take the visible box off, and I think I'll draft it. Draft OpenGL draft in Gurad. Depending on you doing curves or sharp angles, you can get some very nice lighting effects. But anyway, that's a whole new job light. So there we go. We've got ourselves quite a nice drawing set up here. I didn't have that lined up, so that now does line up with that quadrant point. Right, so I could flat shade these, but it don't make any sense. So a hidden line would be better. Yeah, hidden line is better for that viewport. I say I'll show you. I'll flat shade it, but it's a bit silly really. Obviously you're in paper space, go on to put on your text, and then you can obviously save the drawing, save it as a PDF or print it, and so on. So that'll do for this tutorial.